Dawson X with the Shade Detectives here. Welcome. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics. Tierra Mack, you are one of them. You've been doing too much for too little, and we don't like that. Macy Gray, I like your music and your raspy voice, but you got into some trouble, and so we're going to talk about that. Flame Monroe chimed into some of Macy Gray's tea about the transphobia and whatnot. So we're going to get into that. And that situation with Macy Gray really reminded me of that situation with Saucy Santana. So we're going to talk about the correlation that I made with that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Miss Beyoncé and her dropping these from her album Dawson X. Please like and subscribe. The first topic that we're going to be talking about is Miss Tierra Mack. I never heard of this senator from Rhode Island, and neither did you. Don't even lie. Don't even act like you knew about this woman. But she wanted to change that, and change that she did when she got up at the beach in Rhode Island and was twerking this weekend, and even added that she wanted us to vote for her for the next election. Then posted it, and so it went viral, and everybody was eating it up. Rhode Island was eating it up, so they decided that they wanted to do a story on it, and it was funny.
July,
it goes a little something
Seaside
like
Twerk
this.
is creating buzz for reasons she wants to criticize. Upside down, shaking her backside, and Senator Tierra Mack's TikTok post comes with a campaign message at the end.
Vote Senator Mack.
The progressive Democrat
It's
from
crazy.
Providence's twerking post has gone viral, mostly eliciting criticism from the right. Mack tweeted after, "Damn, twerking upside down really makes the conservative unhinged internet accounts pop off on a Monday." Mack returned my message but refused to do an on-camera interview. She told me over the phone it's disappointing what is considered newsworthy in Rhode Island, and that when it comes to coverage of her, we err on the side of racist and sexist tropes, and do not cover her accomplishments in the legislature and as a national champion rugby player. Mack did go on TikTok to address some of the comments she's received, and said the video will probably help her get reelected.
My constituents freaking love that I'm a real person and fun.
She really think it's gonna get her
not a robot.
reelected.
I'm
Like,
trying to determine which
who do you
point
think
of
you are,
envy
baby girl?
Are these people mad at? Is it the Ivy League degree? Is it the sitting state senator? Is it the bodacious body? Because the hate is real and
a
abundant.
world of
Governor Dan
delusion.
McKee's reaction when asked about it is priceless too.
I have not seen it. What was the term you used?
And he gonna act like he don't know what
I
twerking
don't
is.
even know what that means.
Lying.
And on the street
No, he
in
be
Providence,
jerking
the
off
area
in the
Mack
office.
represents, reaction on if that's
You know they
something
gonna
elected
ask a
leaders
black
should be
man
I literally seen it
to
maybe
sit up here and
20, 25 minutes
coon.
ago.
So what do you think of that?
Nah, massa. I watch the big booty, but I just don't think that's a good idea, massa. If she won't be a senator,
I say vote for her. I think anyone that is
Oh.
offended by it probably wishes that they.
she's too afraid of
had
Asian hate
the
to tell you
boldness to
how
go out
she
there and do
really
it
feels
themselves.
about black women.
And Mack's opponent in the Democratic Senate primary, Joe Almeida,
Don't
told me
worry,
that he
they
found
gonna
the
get
video
her
not
out
only
of
disrespectful
Rhode
to
Island
the Senate, but also as a
Senate
father of
as
daughters.
soon as
He said it was an
possible.
insult to all women. The Republican in the race, Adriana Bonilla, told me she has respect for all people,
mess.
but said after watching Mack's video, she was left without words. And the state Republican Party is now trying to fundraise off that video, trying to help Bonilla defeat Mack, calling Mack twerking Tiara Mack. Ryan Crandall, NBC 10 News.
You know what, Tierra Mack? You brought this one on yourself. You really did. You really made a really bad choice by doing this, okay? Now, you're not Cardi B, okay? You're not Kim Kardashian, okay? You're a black woman. And you think that you can get up there and act this way and still be reelected. So you have got the game twisted up. I blame Donald Trump and I blame Cardi B for this. for this one, okay? Donald Trump and Cardi B, because these politics really are acting buck wild. Ever since Donald Trump came in office, anybody thinks that they can do anything and it's just going to go viral and get them reelected. And Cardi B done crept her way into the White House talking to Joe Biden and having commentary against Donald Trump. So it's just a mess. And people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff in politics right now. Now, this topic right here, this is really eating the internet up. Macy Gray. Now, I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. But she didn't stumble upon her words this time. She got what she had to say out. She was on the Pierce Morgan Uncensored show. And, you know, he loves to bait black women and he loves to use black women as talking points. So they chose some really choice points to focus on in that interview. But we're going to listen to more of the interview and hear what she had to say in almost full.
Let's say a human being with boobs. How you to start there?
Yeah, I mean, the dictionary is quite straightforward. It just
And
says
a
a human,
vagina.
adult, female,
Yeah.
right?
No, a lot of people. Yeah, see that's a little getting confusing. The whole he, she, they. That's gonna.
And I'm not sure why, really. It's a bit like this whole issue of transgenders in sport. It's like I support all trans rights to fairness and equality.
Me too.
But not where you have people born to obvious physical superior bodies.
Me too.
Transitioning and then thrashing the women at their sport.
I totally agree. And I will say this, and everybody's gonna hate me, but as a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
You feel that?
I know that for a fact. Like, if you want me to call you a her, I will, because that's what you want. But that doesn't make you a woman just because I call you a her and just because you got a surgery.
Because people do feel that there's biological sex and then there's gender identity, that you can identify as whatever you like
You can call
in terms
yourself
of a
whatever you
gender,
want.
right?
Yeah,
That's the
totally.
freedom we live in.
Absolutely.
But actually, you can't change the mechanics of biological sex. They are what they are.
Well, just women go through just a completely unique experience, and surgery or finding yourself doesn't change that. You know, being a little girl is a whole epic book, you know, and you can't have that just because you want to be a woman.
I mean, you know that when people like J.K. Rowling have said this, they get attacked, they get abused.
Yeah.
The cancel culture mob comes from me. She gets called transphobic and so on. You might get the same for saying it.
But it's the truth. And I don't think you should be called transphobic just because you don't agree with, I just, there's a lot of, judgment and throwing.
Now, I didn't really have as much of an issue with what Macy Gray had to say initially when I heard the isolated clip. I didn't really have a big issue with it. But even now, hearing the larger clip, it puts even more into perspective when you think about the one part that they're posting that's going viral all over social media. It doesn't put the whole scope of the conversation into context. So, they're talking about a lot more than, just her disagreeing with pronouns. They're talking about the inclusion of trans women in sports where their bodies are a lot stronger than cis women. They're talking about women having an experience of girlhood and then transitioning into womanhood, and how all of those things should be respected when you call someone a woman. So there were a lot of different points that you didn't really get from hearing that one clip that's all over the Shade Room, all over Hollywood Unlocked. So you know, there was a lot of backlash that Macy Gray received. I'm sure that Pierce Morgan wanted that small clip to be used so that his show could get some hits. So, yeah, she received a lot of backlash for the points that they decided to focus on. And so it has caused a huge controversy. Macy Gray is being dragged by the entire LGBTQ community on behalf of the T. They're calling her transphobic. They are, saying that, she is being very, very inconsiderate of pronouns and the full woman experience outside of just cisgender women. So it's a lot going on with this situation. Trans comedian Flame Monroe has come into the conversation. Now we know that Flame Monroe, although she is trans, she has a very interesting take on how to approach controversial topics. So she has come out in support of Macy Gray. Let's hear what she has
because
to say.
here are the three things. Gender is a fact, identity is how you feel, and sexuality is your desire. And you are absolutely right, because until you have the heart and mind of a woman, I don't believe that you could ever possibly be a biological woman. Trans women are trans women. Trans men are trans men. Women are women and men are men. It is as simple as that. There shouldn't be any argument about this, because here's what I'm saying to you as part of the community, even when they don't want me to be. I'm a trans person who has altered my body. I have breast implants and silicone in my hips. I lived as a woman before I had 3 biological, beautiful children, and I still dress up as a woman when it's time to get on stage and go to work. Macy Gray, my hat goes off to you for standing in your truth, seeing the world for what it is in black and white, and thank you for not being transphobic. And thank you for the respect of saying, I will call you whatever you want to be called out of respect. That is the respect I'm talking about. That is all we all wanted, Macy Gray. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you for saying it out loud and proud. I'm still part of the community. I still identify as a trans woman, but I will not bash a biological woman ever, because biological women give life. I learned how to be a girl from watching my mother, my grandmother, my sisters, my aunties, not from watching a boy. Macy Gray, there is no transphobic in you. And as part of the community and as a transgender woman, peace to you, my beautiful sister.
So what I want to know is, I want to know what you guys...
Well stated, Flame. Well stated. We all know that Flame offers a very fair argument when she is brought into the mix. And in most cases, she's going to go with the popular opinion of the majority, and she's going to show you how you can understand their point of view and not feel disrespected about how they feel. So that is something that Flame Monroe is really good at doing, and she had some very valid points. It is time for Black women to be recognized for the influence that they have on the LGBTQ community, more specifically the G, the B, and the T, which reminded me so potently of Saucy Santana just last month at the Gay Pride event on the stage, basically saying that Black gay men were inspiring women to be themselves.
When it calls me, they call the gays. When it calls me the stylists, they call the motherfucking gays. When it calls me their motherfucking face burn, they call the motherfucking gays. When your dog ass baby daddy wearing your ass out, you need advice, you call the motherfucking gays. Cause we the motherfucking blueprint to this bitch. Anyway, I need a motherfucking gay rapper that's really running shit out here. And I'm gonna open the motherfucking door for all of us in this bitch. So don't motherfucking hate, congratulate, bitch.
one of the reasons that I disliked Saucy Santana's message was that it was disrespectful to black women, and it was also just inaccurate. You know, I felt like, he was saying that because of gay black men, black women can now get their hair and makeup done in a way that makes them look more beautiful than when they were doing it themselves. And I disagree with that. I disagree with him saying that gay men are the blueprint of the culture. I have an issue with that because if you really get into Saucy Santana and you look at what he's wearing, all of these things were for women, and he admired it so much that he took it on as himself. So it's actually the other way around. Black women paved the way for you, and they're the blueprint for you. But that is a topic that a lot of gay men are having an issue coming to terms with. The power of women, the power of women. So when Bette Midler, she stood in allegiance with Macy Gray's statements, it really resonated with me because I feel as if there is a point here. Bette Midler's remarks were on Twitter, and she basically said that, they're trying to take your choices from your own body. Then they don't want you to call yourselves women. They want to call you birthing people or menstruators or people with vaginas. So she is saying that women are being reduced to other things based on what they can do. But no, the world owes women everything. And I thought that that was very powerful. And I thought that it was somewhat true. And I had to put myself in the shoes of a woman as a man. I had to do that. And I had to think about what it would feel like to have all of these different people coming and, I guess, being so inspired by your gender that they take ownership of certain aspects and then police you in certain ways from expressing what you want. So it was a lot. I think that I understand a lot more of Macy Gray's point of view. And I have to stand with her and say, I agree with you, Macy. It takes a lot more than a surgery to call a woman a woman. I agree. Moving on, Beyoncé removes producers who have sex charges off the album. Now, Beyonce is anticipating the drop of Renaissance Act 1 on July 29th, and she's been ready to drop the music, but she had to halt some things and had to do some background checks, and allegedly she dropped 2 producers off of the situation, off of Renaissance, because their clearances came back dirty and murky, and somebody was a part of the Me Too movement. We don't know who it is, but they're gone. And, I think that it is a smart choice because Beyonce understands that the album is very critical, And people already are wishy-washy about this song, and they dragged her for this song. So she wants to make sure that she doesn't get any backlash that is unnecessary. So she's dropping people off the album. And I think this also draws people into the album as well. So I think that this is also promotion in the works as well. This small controversy and scandal, it has you talking about the album in a favorable way. So we're talking about it. Who got dropped? What is going on? Listen, how do we feel about these topics, okay? Senator Tierra Mack, twerking. Is she going to be reelected? Bet I doubt that. And Macy Gray being put as, the talking point for Pierce Morgan's new show. How do we feel about what she had to say? Is she transphobic? How do we feel about Beyonce dropping these people off her? Dawson X 10-4. Let's get into it. And you'll hear from me soon. Like and subscribe. See you later.